Americans have long taken full shelves for granted, from stocked grocery aisles to overflowing big box stores. But in 2025, that comfort is cracking. Across the country, shoppers are walking into their local stores only to find shocking gaps. No baby formula, no pet food, no basic staples. What's happening? Supply chains that once ran like clockwork are now tangled in strikes, port delays, and global disruptions. It's not just one region, it's a domino effect rippling from coast to coast. And here's the kicker. Many Americans don't realize how close their own state is to facing empty shelves. Today, we're counting down 10 U.S. states where empty shelves are turning life into a nightmare. And you'll want to know if your home is on this list. Get ready, because the new face of shortage isn't far off headlines. It's right at your neighborhood store. And before we get started, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on more engaging content. Number 10. Louisiana. Louisiana, known for its rich culture and bustling port economy, is now grappling with something no one expected: bare shelves. According to Wikipedia, Port of New Orleans, Louisiana, was among the 36 ports affected by the 2024 United States port strike. This critical hub handles goods from across the world, and when it slows, the impact spreads fast. The Port of New Orleans moves everything from coffee and clothing to vital agricultural goods. As port delays mount, retailers across the state are struggling to keep shelves stocked, forcing consumers to ration or drive long distances just to find basics. Supply trucks that once ran like clockwork are now backed up for days. The economic hit is piling up. Louisiana's exports totaled over $70 billion in 2023, ranking among the top 10 U.S. states in international trade. When imports stall, it's not just a matter of inconvenience. It's a blow to the local economy and workforce. For local businesses, this means scrambling to adjust. Grocery chains, hardware stores, and small retailers are working overtime to find alternative suppliers or shift to local sourcing. But with national shortages, even creative solutions have limits. Consumers are feeling the squeeze. Reports from New Orleans and Baton Rouge show rising frustration as residents face gaps in everything from fresh produce to prescription medications. For many, the stress is no longer theoretical. It's hitting their kitchens, pantries, and wallets. Number 9. Massachusetts. Massachusetts, a state known for its innovation and history, is now facing a modern crisis: empty shelves in its supermarkets. According to Wikipedia, Port of Boston, Massachusetts, was affected by the 2024 United States port strike. This has set off a chain reaction that's rattling store inventories across the region. Boston, as a major distribution hub, plays a key role in moving goods across New England. But as port operations slow, consumers are seeing the consequences firsthand, especially in grocery stores, where essentials like dairy, produce, and canned goods are disappearing. Shoppers are reporting that multiple store visits are now needed just to complete a basic shopping list. The impact extends beyond food. Pharmacies are reporting shortages in common medications, while hardware stores struggle to keep tools and materials on hand. Massachusetts' heavy reliance on imported goods means the state feels every ripple in the global supply chain. Economically, the stakes are high. Massachusetts recorded over $30 billion in exports and $60 billion in imports last year. Numbers now under pressure as supply lines stall. For small businesses, finding alternative suppliers is a costly gamble. Residents are increasingly frustrated. Social media is filled with photos of half-empty shelves and long lines at restocked stores. For a state accustomed to efficiency, this new reality is a jarring wake-up call. Before we move on to the next country, take a moment to subscribe. Your support empowers us to investigate the stories others won't touch and deliver thought-provoking content directly to you. The more you support, the further our reach. Be part of the mission. Number 8. Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania, home to major urban centers and rural communities alike, is experiencing supply chain bottlenecks that many never saw coming. According to Wikipedia, Port of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, was among the ports affected by the 2024 United States port strike. That disruption has rippled through grocery stores, pharmacies, and warehouses statewide. Philadelphia serves as a critical gateway for imported goods. With shipments delayed, Pennsylvania retailers are struggling to keep inventory flowing. Shoppers are encountering empty shelves in everything from supermarkets to big box stores, especially when it comes to fresh foods and household staples. The trucking industry, a major player in Pennsylvania's economy, is also feeling the strain. With fewer goods arriving at port, truckers are logging fewer miles, hitting both their wallets and the state's logistics sector. This has downstream effects on prices and job stability. The state's agricultural sector, while robust, can't fully make up for the missing imports. Farmers are stepping in where they can, but processing and packaging supplies are increasingly hard to source, squeezing the entire food supply chain. For consumers, the experience has become one of constant adjustment. Residents are stocking up when they can, turning to local farmers markets, and even crossing state lines in search of goods. Pennsylvania's challenge is not just about supply, it's about resilience in the face of ongoing disruption. Number 7. Georgia. Georgia, a crucial hub in America's supply chain, is now under immense strain. According to Wikipedia, Port of Savannah, Georgia was affected by the 2024 United States port strike. As one of the busiest ports in the country, Savannah's slowdown is sending shockwaves through store shelves statewide. From Atlanta to Augusta, consumers are facing empty shelves in supermarkets, hardware stores, and pharmacies. Essential goods like baby formula, cleaning supplies, and fresh produce are among the hardest hit. Shoppers report having to visit multiple stores just to find basic necessities. The state's logistics network, once praised for its efficiency, is now struggling to keep pace. Trucking companies and rail lines are facing backlogs, forcing retailers to cut back on deliveries or delay restocking. The result? Shoppers walk into stores and leave with half their lists unfilled. Economically, the impact is serious. Georgia's ports support over 500,000 jobs, and supply chain hiccups threaten livelihoods across the state. For small businesses, the shortage of goods is a potential crisis, with many scrambling to pivot toward local sourcing. For families across Georgia, the pressure is personal. Empty shelves aren't just an inconvenience, they're reshaping daily routines, budgets, and expectations. As the backlog deepens, many wonder when, or if, normalcy will return. Number 6. Washington. Washington State, known for its bustling trade economy, is now facing a severe supply chain crunch. According to Wikipedia, Port of Seattle, Washington is among the major ports affected by trade disruptions. This gateway to the Pacific has seen cargo delays ripple into communities across the region. Seattle's store shelves are looking sparse, with shortages hitting groceries, electronics, and home goods. Rural areas are faring even worse, as supply trucks struggle to meet demand in outlying regions. Shoppers report seeing staples like eggs, bread, and over-the-counter medicines frequently sold out. The economic stakes are huge. Washington's export-oriented economy, valued at over $100 billion annually, depends heavily on smooth port operations. Disruptions have not only impacted imports, but also slowed exports of agricultural goods like apples, wheat, and seafood. Local businesses are on edge. Restaurants in particular face rising costs as ingredients become harder to source, and many are being forced to trim menus or adjust prices. Supply chain stress is cascading into every corner of the state's economy. For Washington residents, the shortages are a stark reminder of how connected they are to global trade. The state's leadership is working on contingency plans, but for now, residents are bracing for continued empty shelves and longer wait times for essential goods. Number 5. Illinois. Illinois, with Chicago as its heartbeat, is now facing a surge of empty shelves that's rattling both city and rural residents. According to The Sun, shipping delays will affect various U.S. cities sequentially, starting with Los Angeles, then Chicago. As a central transit hub, Chicago's disruptions quickly ripple across the Midwest. From grocery stores to big-box retailers, Illinoisans are seeing shortages in fresh produce, meat, and everyday essentials. Urban areas are hit hardest, but rural communities are not spared, often dealing with even longer delays as supply chains prioritize major centers. The state's role as a transportation crossroads is both a blessing and a curse. When systems run smoothly, Illinois thrives. But when supply lines stall, the entire region feels the pinch, and businesses are forced to ration stock and limit customer purchases. Illinois' economic backbone, from agriculture to manufacturing, is feeling the pressure. Factories are dealing with parts shortages, and farms are struggling to get their products to market. According to state data, Illinois moves nearly $200 billion in goods annually, underscoring the scale of the challenge. For Illinois families, the situation is frustrating. Shopping trips have become scavenger hunts, with residents bouncing between stores or turning to online orders, only to face further delays. The question on everyone's mind: when will shelves return to normal? Number 4. New York. New York, the Empire State, is facing a crisis that's hitting households hard. Empty shelves in stores that once seemed untouchable. According to Wikipedia, Port Authority of New York and New Jersey was affected by the 2024 United States port strike, a disruption with massive consequences for the nation's largest city. New Yorkers are reporting widespread shortages in groceries, over-the-counter medicines, and even basic household items. In a densely populated state like New York, the impact is amplified, with residents from Manhattan to Buffalo scrambling to find essentials. The city's reliance on imports is a key vulnerability. With ports stalled, trucks and trains carrying goods into New York are backed up, creating bottlenecks that stretch across the Northeast. Retailers are issuing rationing measures, and some have introduced purchase limits on high-demand items. Economically, the hit is sharp. The Port Authority handles billions of dollars in trade annually, and any slowdown triggers ripple effects across finance, hospitality, and food services. Businesses are navigating rising costs, delayed deliveries, and customer frustration. For New Yorkers, known for their resilience, this shortage crisis tests patience and adaptability. While city leaders scramble to ease supply issues, residents are learning to adjust to a new normal, where planning ahead isn't just smart, it's essential. Number 3. Florida. Florida, a state famous for its sunshine and bustling tourism, is now struggling with something far less glamorous: empty shelves across its cities and towns. According to Wikipedia, Port of Miami, Florida, was among the 36 ports affected by the 2024 United States port strike. With its heavy reliance on imported goods, Florida's economy is feeling the pinch. From Miami to Orlando and Tampa, residents are facing shortages in fresh produce, canned goods, and pharmacy items. Reports indicate that grocery stores are limiting the number of items customers can buy, and some have started posting notices about delayed shipments. For a state with a booming population, the stress on supply chains is unmistakable. Florida's economy thrives on international trade, and the Port of Miami is a major gateway for goods coming in from Latin America and beyond. When those shipments slow, the effects ripple quickly across the state, hitting both large retailers and mom-and-pop shops alike. Tourism, a cornerstone of Florida's economy, is also feeling the impact. Hotels, restaurants, and attractions are struggling to get supplies, forcing some to modify menus or reduce offerings. According to Visit Florida, the state welcomed over 137 million visitors in 2023, a number now at risk if shortages continue. For residents, the new normal means adapting, visiting multiple stores, turning to local farmers markets, or waiting longer for online orders. The question on everyone's mind: how long can Florida's sunny optimism hold out against empty shelves? Number 2. Texas. Texas, with its sprawling cities and vast rural regions, is facing an escalating supply chain nightmare. According to Wikipedia, Port of Houston, Texas, among others, was affected by the 2024 United States port strike. As one of the country's busiest ports, Houston's disruptions have thrown the state's supply lines into disarray. From Austin to Dallas and down to the Rio Grande Valley, Texans are experiencing shortages in everything from groceries to construction materials. Reports show that supermarkets are frequently out of staples like eggs, milk, and bread, and even hardware stores are struggling to restock basic tools and materials. Texas's economic engine relies heavily on its ports and trucking routes. With the Port of Houston slowed, cargo backlogs are cascading through the state's supply chains, impacting businesses large and small. Manufacturing, oil, and agriculture, all pillars of the Texas economy, are under strain. The economic impact is massive. Texas ranks as the second largest state economy in the U.S., with a GDP surpassing $2 trillion. When its ports falter, the effects ripple nationwide, hitting both consumers and businesses across multiple sectors. For Texans, renowned for their independence and resilience, the shortages are more than an inconvenience. They're a wake-up call. Families are bracing for continued disruptions, learning to stretch supplies, and hoping the state's recovery efforts can ease the burden in the months ahead. Number 1. California. California, the Golden State, is facing an unprecedented crisis at the checkout line. According to The Sun, shipping delays will affect various U.S. cities sequentially, starting with Los Angeles. As the nation's largest entry point for imports, California's supply chain troubles are sending shockwaves across the state. Los Angeles, San Francisco, and San Diego are all reporting severe shortages in grocery stores, pharmacies, and home improvement centers. Shoppers are finding empty shelves where fresh produce, cleaning supplies, and personal care products once stood. In some neighborhoods, customers line up before stores open, hoping to grab limited stock. California's massive economy, the largest in the U.S. and the world's fifth largest, relies heavily on imports through ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach. When these ports face delays, the impact hits not just retailers, but also manufacturers, restaurants, and tech companies. According to state trade data, California moves over $400 billion in goods annually, a number now under threat. For businesses, the strain is mounting. Restaurants are trimming menus, retailers are scaling back inventory, and e-commerce warehouses are scrambling to meet delivery timelines. The ripple effect is reshaping the state's economy, with costs rising and consumer frustration deepening. Californians, known for their resilience, are adapting, but patience is running thin. Community groups and local governments are stepping up with emergency food drives and support, but many wonder when, or if, the situation will stabilize. Here are 5 practical tips to consider. If you live in a U.S. state facing empty shelves in 2025, stock up on non-perishable essentials. With ongoing supply chain disruptions, it's advisable to maintain a reserve of non-perishable items like canned goods, dry grains, and hygiene products to mitigate the impact of shortages. Diversify your shopping options. Explore alternative shopping avenues such as local farmers markets, community-supported agriculture, CSA programs, and smaller independent stores, which may have different supply sources compared to major retailers. Stay informed about local supply conditions. Regularly check local news outlets and community forums for updates on product availability and store restocking schedules to plan your shopping trips effectively. Practice responsible purchasing. Avoid panic buying and hoarding, as these behaviors can exacerbate shortages and prevent equitable access to essential goods for all community members. Advocate for policy changes. Engage with local representatives and policymakers to express concerns about supply chain issues and advocate for measures that can alleviate shortages, such as easing certain tariffs or investing in local production capabilities. Empty shelves aren't just a minor inconvenience. They're a sign of deeper cracks in America's supply chain. As we've seen across these 10 states, the combination of port strikes, shipping delays, and global disruptions is reshaping daily life for millions. From California's bustling ports to New York's crowded streets, no region is immune. For Americans, the lesson is clear. Resilience matters, but preparation is essential. Whether it's stocking up on essentials, supporting local producers, or staying informed, families and businesses alike are learning to adapt in a world where certainty is no longer guaranteed. If this countdown opened your eyes, hit that subscribe button, like the video, and share it with someone who needs to know what's coming next. Because when it comes to staying ahead of the curve, knowledge is power.